Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint Moonlight butterflies. I'm going to try to make it very simple for beginners, and I'll show you step by step how to do it from start to finish during this live show. I've got my husband Mark here.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man on chat, so if you've got questions, you can ask those and we'll try to answer them. Let's get started. Okay, I'm going to be using a 9 by 12 inch canvas panel. This is the Fredrix Pro Linen, Belgian Linen canvas board. They are a canvas sponsor. We really like these boards because they're nice and firm. They've got a hardcore middle and they don't warp. So let me go over our brushes really quick. Got a number 8 Filbert, just any large flat type brush or Filbert for the background. Then I've got a number 4 Filbert for some of the smaller details, a number 2 Bright, and a number 1 Round for some of the butterflies. Losing my voice already. And then I've got a few of the Princeton Select line. These were the Princeton 6100 series, and these ones are their Select line. They're a little bit more economic. There's the Bristle fan, the 3/8 inch Deerfoot Stippler, the number 2 Fix-It brush. It's kind of a stiff bristled pointed tip brush, number 6 Filbert, and a 3/0 round just for some small details like the little butterfly antenna and things. So you don't have to have these exact brushes, but if you want to see my list of recommended brushes that I use in these videos, the link is down in the description to thebrushguys.com. It's 5% off if you use Angela Fine Art, the code Angela Fine Art. And the materials for the paints and things are also in my Amazon store. And that link is also down in the description. So our paints are going to be Unbleached Titanium, Titanium White, Zinc White, Quinacridone Magenta, Yellow Oxide, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, Dioxazine Purple, Burnt Sienna, Burnt Umber, and Carbon Black. You don't have to use these exact colors. This is one of those paintings that can be adapted to really any colors. I'm going to show you, actually we're going to start in black and white. And then we'll add a little bit of subtle color. Like I said, you can use any colors you would like over the top. So that's why we're going to kind of start with the black and white and do it that way. All right, let me draw out really quick just a simple horizon line with our chalk. And it's just regular school chalk. I'm going to do the moon up here. So it's going to be kind of in this area right here. And if you want to try to find either a sponge or like a round circular object that's about the right size, I found that tape thing is it might be a little bit big, so I thought maybe the sponge might work a little bit better. So I think I'm going to use that for tonight, but that'll be kind of where our moon is. It's going to maybe a little bit higher, but it's going to set pretty high up in the sky. And then our water is going to be down below, just above the halfway mark. So here's our halfway mark. So we're just going to kind of do a horizon line just above it right here. And then our water reflections are just going to kind of zigzag all down in this way. And then we're going to have a large butterfly up in here and another large one here. And then they're all going to kind of just trail around in different ways. And you could totally do this without the butterflies if you don't want to do that. So if you just kind of want to do a moon, and you could even probably put a silhouette of a boat or whatever you wanted to do on here. It'd be pretty easy to adapt. All right, let's get going here. I'm going to wet down my Filbert, my large number 8 Filbert, and grab some of the white, titanium white, and a little bit of black. I'm going to make a really light gray. I'm just going to start in my moon section, and we just going to want it light gray because we're going to want to put our white moon highlights on top of this, so it needs to be somewhat dark. I'm going to grab black, and I am going to go ahead and put a little bit of blue into it right now. Just a little tiny bit of that phthalo blue, just to give our black a little bit more of a bluish tinge. So I'm going to do it there. So I do want it to be fairly dark right here in the center. We're going to add lots of good white highlights. Let me grab a little bit more white. And I'm just kind of slapping it on in sort of X strokes. This is kind of a big brush for this area. I might switch to a smaller brush. Use whatever size brush that you're comfortable with in the area that you're trying to fill in. There's really no right or wrong brush to use. It's just kind of whatever brush feels comfortable to you for whatever it is you're trying to do at the moment. So down here, I'm going to go kind of side to side here. There we go. Let's add a little bit more of this white around the outside of it.
So it's good to see you using your yoga equipment there.
I am. I got some yoga knee pads to use for painting.
Not for yoga.
Definitely not.
Hopefully you're not up on the table there doing yoga.
Sadly, I am not a yoga girl. I wish I was, but nope. I'm not that flexible.
Me either.
I tried
I'm not a
Pilates
yoga
for a
girl.
while there, but that was really hard. So, okay, grabbing some of this darker color here and going outside the area that's still wet. So I'm going to kind of slap down some paint. And then once I get most of that paint off my brush, then I'm going to kind of just gently pull some of that color in towards the middle into that wet paint that's on the sides here. So let's do that all around. And we're doing all this kind of fuzzy. It does not have to be clean brush strokes. We want all this kind of fun slapped on. I didn't do a print of this. I should have, but.
We got a question about the yellows when you have
Okay.
a chance.
Yep.
They would like to know the difference between yellow oxide and yellow ochre.
They're pretty much the same. Yellow ochre is an older version of yellow oxide. Yellow oxide is kind of a modern synthetic version. So, but they're almost identical on the chart that I have. You know.
Okay, so they're
So
just
you can really use them interchangeably, I think.
probably less toxic or something.
Probably, yeah, there was probably some sort of, or maybe it was hard to find, or, you know, whatever. For whatever reason, they came up with a synthetic version of it. Oh, here I'm going with black, but I've still got these light colors on my brush, so it's, and again, starting out in the area where I want it darkest, so not in the middle. I'm not going right up next to my wet paint. I'm laying down my fresh paint kind of out in a clean area, and then I'm going to, once I have little to no paint on my brush, I'm going to kind of run it into that wet area of the gray, and it'll kind of pull in and look smoky and all that good stuff that we want it to look like. And if your paint is drying, like if this gray over here is dry, just don't mess with it. Just let it set. We can always put more layers on, and we will be putting lots of more layers on. So don't, if your paint's starting to dry, if it starts to feel sticky on your brush, you'll notice it won't be kind of going on smoothly. It'll kind of grab your brush as you're trying to paint. Then just lay off, let it dry, and come back to it later. So, all right, I'm gonna go down here, just lay in some of this black under here. It's starting to get more black because I'm almost out of my lighter color off the brush here, but I'm gonna kind of pull it from the sides, get that darkest color right around the edges, and then just kind of run these lines. And I'm not worried about any of this being kind of sketchy right now. It's sort of gonna have these holes in it. That's fine. We'll fill those in later. We just are concerned mostly with this direction being, you know, up here we kind of were doing these X strokes and sort of slapping it on, but the water down here, we want it to, if we want it to look kind of a mirror smooth, like in the photograph or a reference image, we're gonna do it side to side like this. That's kind of the trick to do an easy water.
Man, we're about done.
It's gonna be a quick one tonight, I really think. The butterflies, you know, we'll take our time on the butterflies, but
I mean, this This is a good foundation for a lot of different paintings.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
I mean, if there was some kind of a spooky holiday coming up soon.
Well, I've got a couple moon paintings coming up, so I kind of did think of that when picking this. And we've got another moonlight trees coming up soon in a couple weeks. So I'm going to turn this because I'm having a hard time getting it straight. So I want some bright color right here in the middle. Excuse me. Did you hear that? Hope that didn't get picked up on the microphone.
Just a little.
Little burp.
Ornaments.
Exactly.
We'll have to pop that back in.
I had a little snack before we started tonight, so my pre-dinner talking. All right, and as we get down to the bottom, I'm just going to kind of...
Are you a ballerina?
Only you and I would know what we're talking about there.
And that's what's funny about it.
All right. I think I'm going to switch to a smaller brush now that I've kind of got this much down, most of the background down. I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller brush and grab that black. And we'll start trying to lay in some details. And I did not, you could have started with the black canvas. That would have been totally fine. I just figured that it would take several coats to build up to these lighter areas. So I just thought it'd be easier to do it this way. So, but either way would have worked. You just might have had to add 2 or 3 coats of your white to get it to cover up the black. I'm going to use a little bit of the glazing liquid. This is the golden glazing liquid. It'll just help this. That's going to go on a lot smoother now. And I am going to start going into these light areas here and doing, they're almost straight, but they're just a little bit swooped, like just a little bit of a cup, slightly. And as we get back here, I'm going to make them really thin. So the farther away from our horizon line we get, the thinner we want to make these little lines. And the closer together, because these will give that illusion of distance. And then as we get down toward the bottom, we can make these a little bit wider, a little bit closer together, or a little bit farther apart, I mean. Leave a little bit more of that white space in between. Like that.
So earlier you had mentioned about the supplies and things like that. And
Right.
So below your YouTube video, depending on what you're watching on, there's either a show more option that you can click, or
Right.
if you're on a mobile device, it may be just a simple triangle arrow
Right.
that you select, and it will expand the supplies list and the links to Amazon and the brush guys and social
Shows
media.
all the paint colors I'm using and all
Right.
that stuff.
Yep. So it's there, but YouTube makes you work for it.
Yeah, they do. They make you work for it. The farther away we get from our moon, the less of this bright area we've got too. So we're going to kind of narrow in our dark area here, get it closer together. Down here, less of that light color, might not be as vivid. Just trying to kind of get all these little white areas sort of, there we go.
So you kind of teased earlier about moon paintings. So
Yes.
Are you suggesting that you're going to be doing some Halloween themed paintings?
Well, it's
or
not going to
more
be,
fall?
yes, we are starting on our fall themed paintings. So we're we're going to kind of do a couple that got voted in on my Facebook group voted on. So there's a few that are not fall related, but we're definitely going to start on. We've got some landscapes. I'm getting more white here. We've got some, let me see if this is dry. I think this is. We've got a peacock coming up, a white peacock. So that's not really fall related. We've got, what do we have? We've got a pumpkin that's going to be really fun. That's going to be a pumpkin vase. It's got flowers inside of it, so that'll hit the fall and the flower folks. Like me, if you like both, then that one will be fun.
We got people jumping in. Could you say what brush you're using right now?
This is the number 4 Filbert. Now, sorry, I don't know if I've mentioned it actually.
Ooh,
I grabbed it, but
assuming that you had.
I think I said I was going to switch to a smaller brush, but I don't know if I actually said which one it was. Okay, just kind of laying in, and there's going to be some kind of random ones that are out here that are a little bit more gray. There we go. All right, so that's kind of our basic starting point here. And as long as this is dry, we can keep on going. Well, no, I just got black there. That's all right. That was from my finger. Not a big deal. That's why you don't ever put acrylic paintings, even after they're dry. You never stick them face to face, because they'll do that. They'll grab each other's paint and pull it off.
Cheek to cheek?
Cheek to cheek. Yep, you don't ever want to put them cheek to cheek. All right. That's not going to be a big deal. So let's grab our sponge here, and I'm actually going to dip it in the water if you want to show that. Put out more white.
I'm using hotkeys to help me. Yeah.
Fancy.
All fancy stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to totally dunk it and get it wet. And then squeeze all the water out that I can get out. So I don't want it sopping wet. I don't want it dripping down, although that might be cool if you let it drip. That would be interesting. I'm going to keep having little burpees, sorry. I need to not eat the peanut butter crackers before the show. All right, so I'm trying to kind of just get it sort of so that it looks like it, yeah, there, that's even, but not super thick. You notice there's not a whole lot of paint on there. So if I want to, I can test it on my paper towel just to kind of tap it a couple of times, and there's really no paint coming on. That's kind of how we want it. Because we want, when we set it down, we want to be able to kind of control it, how much paint goes on the canvas. So I'm going to press down just gently and twist it in place. And if we did this right, oh, there we go. Let me see if I can get it more even. There we go. I have to go all the way around. Okay, there. Woo, I like it. Might be a little bit low. There we go. Okay. So there's our, I kind of like that. It does have a little bit of a swirly look, but I'm going to take my paper towel now and dab off. Let me actually find a clean spot so I'm not adding color to it. Dab off some places here. Take my finger. And just tap it on here. And I'm going to go ahead and let that set. Let it dry completely, and we'll add more to it here in a minute, because I just want to let it kind of set. If you get it to this point and there's any areas where, you know, it went over the edge or you don't like it, you can take your kind of a damp brush and sort of clean up that edge a little bit. Say there's, you know, like if it was too much over there, or, you know, you feel like it needs to have a little harder edge somewhere, you can kind of use your brush and sort of clean up any of these edges that need to be brighter. And then just kind of pull it towards the center. This actually did a pretty decent job, so I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to maybe make it a little bit brighter just on this one side. I want it really bright over here. So before this dries, I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of paint to it. Over here. If you don't have one of those sponges, like I said, you could just use something like this, and what you would do is just brush on the inside of it with the kind of a lightly, a brush that did not have too much paint on it, so that it didn't lay down too much paint at one time. Just like a stencil. Just use it like a stencil. Make sure you hold it in place, don't let it slip around. And just kind of paint. You could even just paint around the outside edge and then fill in the middle, just to give yourself a kind of an even outline. Lots of ways to make it easier. All right, let me add just a little bit of color down in here. I'm seeing some kind of just tapping in a little bit of detail to our moon. It's starting to, that first layer is starting to dry a little bit, so there we go. Okay, so kind of leaving this sort of dark patch that's in our reference photo. You want to put the reference photo up there, huh? That was your hint.
If I had only been listening, that would have been perfect.
I was trying to be subtle about it, but
we would make a good team someday.
Oh, goodness. All right, so if you want to make the water look kind of smoky, we can use, like I kind of like this look too, so we could totally just leave it this way. But if we want to make it look kind of smoky, what we can do is take some of the, actually we can take some zinc white. I'm going to mix the zinc white and the titanium white, just kind of 50-50 here. And use my scrubber brush. This is a Deerfoot Stippler. You can use any kind of stiff bristle brush that works for you for scrubbing. And I am going to, I wiped most of the paint off, you noticed. Then I'm just going to kind of do these circular motions around my moon and add sort of wispy smoke. And if it goes on too dark, you can always kind of go back over it with a little bit of black later. The more you do this, the less paint will be on your brush, and then harder you can scrub and get it really wispy. Just make sure that your paint underneath is dry, otherwise you could end up lifting off the color off of the first layer if it's not dry all the way. Okay, there we go. Well, let's put some of this down in our area down here too, so it's kind of, there's our horizon line like way up here, but we're kind of seeing this fog roll out over the edge a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then I think I'm going to use the black too. I'm going to do the opposite with the black, and I'm going to put it over this side and kind of scrub it in this way. So the black is kind of creeping in some places up here. What are you laughing at? There we go.
So Ash commented that she admires your courage to paint with sleeves.
Oh, yeah. Well, I only wear shirts that I don't mind getting paint on. That's all I'm saying about that, because I have a lot of paint covered sleeves. So, but I have a whole wardrobe of clothes that I've bought specifically for painting in like this. So, all right, getting some white here, and I'm going to go right up the top right here. Really bright right there. Get another layer of this smoke. Maybe go over the moon just a little bit, or right up to the edge of it. You kind of don't want to lose this outline altogether, but there are some areas, if you notice in our reference photo, where that smoke comes right, or the fog comes right up to the edge of that moon. So. Okay, I think that's good. All right, now's where we can start adding some colors. So we can do this in a couple of ways. We can either use what we've got already and just glaze. So I can take some of my glazing liquid and some of my Phthalo Blue, maybe. And if I want to tone it down or change the color a little bit, I can add a little bit of either the burnt sienna. Burnt sienna will make it a little bit more teal, maybe. So that would be a pretty color. It helps if when you do glazing, if you use a color that's already sort of transparent. So burnt sienna is not, but Phthalo Blue is very transparent. So it makes a really lovely glaze. So I'm going to wipe most of the paint off my brush. I've got just a little bit of the glazing liquid, probably 50-50 with my paint, maybe a little bit more glazing liquid than that. But then I'm going to go over these areas that I've got this light color. You can see it'll start to tint it. And I'm just kind of going subtle at first. We'll build up layers of this because I want to kind of get some of these gray areas over here. And then if I want a really bright area, which I don't know if I do. For this one, I kind of think I want to keep it fairly subtle, but let's go ahead and grab a little bit of purple. Maybe see what that looks like. Maybe a little bit of the purple with this Phthalo Blue. Let's put some of that down in here. Like around the edges, where it'd be darkest. And then as we get up towards the moon, maybe we'll use more golden colors. But like I said, you could use whatever colors you wanted to. So if you wanted to do all pink or all purple or all blue, whatever you want to do, you use those colors and do this over the top of what you've painted in here. And what this does was it'll also kind of help the illusion of it being water, because this will be sort of translucent. We'll be able to see that white layer underneath, but it won't be solid paint. If we did this in a light blue, it'd be a lot more solid looking. It wouldn't look like this glaze. Just, I don't know, it has this really beautiful luminescent quality that you really can't get any way else. So if I was to go in with a light blue, in fact, I'll do that right now, I'll show you the difference. So if I take some white, all out of again. I'm gonna grab some white here. I take that white and I mix some of my Phthalo Blue in it with it. It's going to reduce the saturation of the color. And let's add a little bit of the, I guess we'll use a little bit of that, the burnt sienna, right, to make that teal color. Okay, so there's kind of the same color, right? But when you put it on here, it's going to look more solid. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but I mean, really either way is valid. I'm just saying it. I think I like the look of this more than the, plus you've got the brighter white underneath it. It'll be harder to cover up some of this black if we do it after the fact. Okay. It's pretty though. All right, let me grab some of the white. And I'm going to add some highlights on here on this water. Just in a few areas.
I'm going to give a shout out to a young fan, Hannah. She's watching with her mom, and she thinks I'm awesome.
He is awesome, Hannah. You're right. But he's taken. Sorry.
It may be she thinks you're awesome, but that's not the way it was said in chat. So it said she thinks you're awesome. So I took that as me. So you're welcome for my awesomeness.
Hi, Hannah. You're so silly, Mark. All right, grabbing some of that black. That's great. I love it when I love seeing kids' art. That's what got me into doing YouTube, actually, because I was doing kids' classes locally, and it came out of Vacation Bible School. I've taught Vacation Bible School crafts at our church for years and years, and loved it. The first couple of years I did it were a disaster, seriously bad. But I kind of got the hang out of it after, the our third son came around, and about that time I decided to maybe start teaching again, full time. I had some homeschool kids that wanted to continue their lessons from Vacation Bible School. So we started doing classes locally and became a full-time thing. And then I thought, let's put some of these projects on YouTube. Who knows? Somebody else might want to try them. And then it turned out to be totally took over our lives. So
a few people in Australia, Middle East.
Pretty cool.
All over the world.
Pretty cool how that all worked out. So I have a very soft spot in my heart for kids' art and doing art with kids. I still love it.
So you mentioned that it was a disaster. Somebody wanted to know what qualifies that as a disaster.
Okay. Well, here I'm using unbleached titanium here to use a little bit of warmer color up by the thing. Well, the first year that I did it, I had never done anything like that before. I kind of liked doing crafts, but I hadn't. I really didn't even know how to paint yet much. I had been kind of dabbling in it at home, but my boys were, I bet they were the oldest boys that are now 27 and 25 were probably 3 and 5. So we're talking a long time ago, 20 years or more. And I'd never done Vacation Bible School. And they were like, can you do crafts? And I was like, maybe, yeah. And they're like, okay, we'll have it all set up for you. And you can just come show up and, do them. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds fine. And I got there and nothing was cut out. Nothing was all in the crafts were terrible. Sorry, Deborah. The crafts they picked were terrible. Really hard, lots of cutting, lots of gluing and lots of steps. And so not stuff that I would have picked out. So the next year I did it again, but I was like, I'm picking the crafts this time. And they got done. We didn't get one thing done. Everybody brought home incomplete projects that year. Everybody. It was bad. Okay, so still just kind of trying to transition, just kind of soften that. I've got, add a little bit of this kind of warmer white up in here and pull it down, slowly so that we're getting kind of some of these, kind of a soft transition between this light to dark area here. And I do want some of these highlights fairly bright up in here. So I'm just going to add a little bit more white back in. Now that we've got a little color on there, we can have this white highlights on top of it. It's looking pretty. I like it. Okay, so let's add a little bit of glazing to our moon. And I think I'm going to use blue. I'm just going to grab this bluish purple that we mixed earlier, and I'm just going to put it right in here. Paint it over the top. This has to be dry underneath. And then I'm going to use a paper towel and just kind of dab it off. And I didn't go all the way to the edge. I just want the color to be kind of right in the middle there. And kind of catch in the cracks and get in there. Let's use a little bit of it around the outside in our smoky area too. We're just tapping off. It's just tinting that color a little bit into that paint. I'm going to grab some more glazing liquid. I'm trying to keep my voice higher today. Trying to do a better job.
Okay.
Had some complaints about
I'll give you about a 5 or 6 then.
5 or 6, so I haven't been not too bad, but not great.
Right.
Okay, I'm trying.
We appreciate it.
I'm trying. All right, so making that kind of a blue purple again, I'm going to kind of add it to this outside edges here. Slap it on there. I've got lots of glazing liquid in here to make it nice and transparent. Ooh, that's pretty. Let's do that again over here. Starting out in this black area, so we're kind of tinting the black area too. But it's mostly gray, so it's not going to show up as much. But do small areas, work in small areas, and if it's dry or you get too much on there, you can kind of just tap it off, and you can always fix it. Don't panic. The key is to not have too much paint on your brush at any one time. With this kind of, especially glazing, you want to kind of slowly build up these layers. You don't want to have a lot of thick paint on your brush. Okay, so see how pretty that is? I like it. All right, so let's grab some yellow and some of the blue. We'll make kind of a green, golden green color. I'm going to clean out my brush. Grab a little bit of that glazing liquid, a little bit of that color there, maybe a little bit more blue. Wow, that phthalo blue, a little bit goes a long way, doesn't it? It's like, I'll grab a little bit and just like, wah, just like takes over. Okay, there we go. So it's kind of a teal, like a soft tealish color. There, wipe it off again. And put a little bit of it down here. Kind of down here, we've got a little bit more golden colors right by our moon. I'm going to grab a little bit of water. Help that go on. You want to be careful when you're using water with acrylics though, because if our paints underneath were at all dry or wet, what it would do is lift those colors off. So even if we had a nice thick layer of paint, if we don't have dry color underneath this when we're putting these wet layers down, it's just going to lift all of that color right off. All that paint will come right off your canvas. I've done it multiple times on accident, so I know from experience. It's no bueno. No good.
Oh, you went international on us. No bueno.
I know. That's my Southern California roots coming out there. Let's adding a little bit of this green up in here. Let's add a little bit of to our moon. I'm liking it. Very subtle. All right, so now let's add a little bit of this gold, yellow oxide. Grab some of the glazing liquid again. I got all the other colors out of there. This should be dry. I'm going to put it right up in here. Just a little bit of yellow right there. And then let's put some down in our water too. And don't worry if you put too much of this color down, we can add more white on top. So just go ahead and put as much as you think you need right here at first. And then let's add a little bit of this burnt sienna and yellow Quinacridone Magenta. That'll make kind of a soft brown, pinkish brown color. Add a little bit of that. Mark has left the building. I don't know where he went to.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you there? Okay. What's the matter? Are you having buffering issues?
No.
Okay.
I had to go get my phone.
Oh, okay. All right, so now I've got my white here. I'm going to just do one more layer right on top. Add some of this white. I'm going to go ahead and grab some of that black because we lost all the black in this area, and I'm just going to put very thin little lines all in through here. Not too many, but there we go. Beautiful. All right, I feel like this could be a little bit darker up here, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit of that blue, a little bit of the black. Excuse me. A little bit of blue and black. And I'm actually going to use my Deerfoot Stippler, I think. Oops, if I can get it, all the paint color out of it. You don't want any water in these. All right, let's try that again. A little bit of blue, a little bit of black. I want to keep this subtle, so a little bit darker. There we go. Okay. All right, now we're ready for butterflies. Let's splatter really quick before we start our butterflies. Use some white. Actually, we could probably save the splattering for last. Yeah, let's do that. Because then I don't have to worry about painting around the splatters. Alright, so let's draw on our butterflies. Like I said, you don't have to do butterflies if you wanted to. You could do a silhouette of something out here.
People in chat were saying they might do like bats.
Ooh, bats. Yeah, bats would be cool.
People monitoring chat and video were thinking maybe put a submarine in there.
Would that person be Mark?
Maybe.
Okay, just wondering.
I think your dog wants to go out. I'll be right back.
Okay.
He's just sitting there staring at me.
He's staring at you. He's been sneezing a lot. He got real excited when you got up to go in the other room. Okay. So there's our first butterfly. Let me do one down here and I'll talk about how I drew that better. Sorry, I was talking to Mark and not you guys. Okay, so a little bit body, maybe not that big. Little tiny dot for the head, and then a curved line out on either side. And then at the top, you're going to kind of angle it back in a little bit, and then another loop there. And then the bottom part is going to be kind of these roundish things, and then these long tails. And I'm scraping off my paint while I'm doing that. So that paint is still really wet, so just be careful. You may want to let it dry for a little while longer than I just did. Alright, so I'm going to start out by painting the inside of it black. That way we'll get a good solid outline on it and we won't have to worry about the water showing through anywhere.
awfully quiet in here.
Might be a little hard to see, but they'll get brighter once we start painting them in. And this doesn't have to be solid. I'm just kind of trying to give it a little bit of darkness. Trying to get them about the same size. Go. And there's one here that's kind of, let's do this low one. It's right here. It's from the side. So we're seeing the side of it. Another circle there and the tail. And then the body is right in front. There's a little bit of the other wing showing right up there. Then another one right here. So this is like a V shape almost right here. What were you saying?
Oh, just, I was going to say that I saw some butterfly wings out in the yard when I came home.
Did you?
Yeah, just the wings.
What happened to them?
They're on the ground outside.
Well, that's not good.
I can go get them if you want me
In
to.
the summer, probably. Something happened to it. I got a whole jar of butterflies up there. That sounds less creepy than it is. Or it sounds creepier than it is, probably. Got a whole wall of dead butterflies behind this, actually over here. So, yeah. It is kind of weird that we do that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. They're so pretty, though. Why is it a shame to let them go to waste? Okay. Some of them are just going to be kind of two little brush strokes. There and there. Some of them are kind of hard to tell what they are. There's one really big one right here. So it's kind of at a diagonal to this, and just sort of in between the moon and this. There's a big sweeping wing, triangular shape. This one's again from the outside, from the side. It's kind of a long, thin body. Sorry, I'm just slowing down. Talking louder. Talk louder. And the bodies don't have to be very big. They're not super distinct, so I'm just going to put those in. This one is painting forward. Like that. And then there's one that's going over the top of the moon right here. Go. Trying to find them all here. There's one here going upside down. there's just a bunch of little ones that are all kind of flitting up from, well, there's, okay, there's still, I'm still not done, sorry. There, there. They get smaller and smaller as they get up here. So I'm just going to kind of indicate some little teeny tiny bodies here. Little dots. Oops, I was off camera there, honey. Okay. There we go. Now, these first ones are probably dry. Let me go ahead and try to rub off that chalk without getting the paint off of it. Lightly. And you can see where the chalk just drew the paint right off of it. Get this. Let me touch that up. Too much water. There we go. All right. So now we can do our butterflies whatever color we want. Over the top of this black. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the blue theme that we've got going on here. Just use some of that phthalo blue. And I need more white again. Now I'll probably have way more white than I need at the end of the show, but by golly, get some white down there. And Zinc White's just transparent white. I used a little bit of it. Where did I use it? In the moon, I think, or in the fog here. You could use it in the water too. So it's I really didn't use it as much as I thought I might, but that's up to you. However much you want to use, or you can just use regular white if you don't have it. I'm going to go from the outside in and just pull in and lift. Flick some color towards the center of these butterflies. Leave the centers dark. So just highlight the outside of the wings a little bit, and then let's highlight the body just a little bit. Kind of using the edge of my brush there. Set it down, draw it towards the center. There we go. Okay, and then I can press my brush flat and just use that edge to kind of do a line on the outside of it to outline the wing there, and maybe a little bit here if I need to. There we go. Do a brighter blue in a couple spots. And then if you want to get fancy, you can use like the back end of your brush, or a small toothpick or a small dotting tool, and do little dots in your butterfly. if you want to. Some of the, in the original picture that I was looking at, it had all these little dots in our butterflies. I might just do it in a couple of the bigger ones, just for a little extra detail. And obviously try to get them to match the other side there somewhat, but there we go. Okay, let's keep on going here. Some of these I'm going to do more white, maybe do a little bit of pink in some of them. This one will do more white here. There we go. I think I'm going to just do the big brushes with this, or the big butterflies with this Filbert brush. This one's the number 6 Filbert from the Princeton. Obviously, the numbers mean absolutely nothing because this is the number 4 and this is the number 6, and this one's the number 8. So this is the smallest of the Filberts, but it's all called number 6. It is different because it's a different line, and each brush line has its own way of numbering brushes. So this is about a 1/4 inch Filbert. If you do this and you get too much of your blue color, you can always just go back in. I added a little bit of black to that one because I felt like I had too much blue going toward the center. So just, you know, you can always adjust it. Doesn't have to be perfect the first time. A little bit of it there. A little bit more white here since these are overlapping petals, or the overlapping right there. I'm going to do a little bit brighter on the one in front there. Oh, okay. I see. I did this one wrong. I was looking at the one in front. There we go. This one's got the tail. We can use a little bit of the darker blue to streak in a little bit of color on some of these. I want to add a little bit brighter color here and there. What you doing, hon?
Listening.
I thought I heard you sighing.
Nope, that wasn't me.
Okay. Good.
People are just hoping that you remember to splatter.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Like that was going to happen.
Oh yeah, we got a splatter for sure.
Hashtag splatter movement.
Gotta have some stars going on here. Hashtag splatter mark. Exactly. There we go. All right, so now I need to switch to a smaller brush because that's just not quite cutting it. These little bitty baby ones, we're going to have more control. So I'm going to add a little bit of detail with the darker blue, some of these butterfly wings here. Going with some brighter white here on some of the tips. There we go.
So
These actually need to be wider. What?
So what do you think the difficulty is on this painting here?
I don't think it's particularly difficult. I really don't. This part is probably the hardest part, but you could definitely simplify them, you know, a lot. So, but the water part is not hard at all. I don't think. This, you know, let's do some blue on the moon here on this side.
I'm gonna go. It's probably
3.
Oh, I was thinking
4?
of 4.
Yeah, maybe 4.
4 to 5, depending on your experience level.
Right.
But
yeah, I probably wouldn't do this with, you know, my youngest kids, but I would definitely, you know, older teens, or if, you know, if a younger kid had help, or you used a stencil or something for some of the butterflies, for sure. You know, stencil would make this 100 times easier for the butterflies. That's probably what I would do if, you know, if I was teaching this today in my kids' class. I would have them do the moon the same way I did, pretty much. And then when I got to the butterfly part, I would pull out the stencils and just have either stamps or stencils for them to use for the butterfly part. Just make it super simple. I'm not 100% happy with this butterfly over here, but we'll just keep on going and come back to him if we need to.
was that me?
Yeah.
I don't know what I did. Oh, it was the chocolate falling.
Oh.
I wasn't even touching it. So you had
I'm
mentioned...
trying to call it attention to itself.
Yeah. So you had mentioned stencils.
Yes.
But we can do one better, can't we?
We have traceables, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We will have traceables available for this, so if you don't want to draw any of this, they're $1 a month for my traceables on Patreon. So, and we've got dozens, over 100 traceables on there or something. Yeah, I said dozens, but it's really over 100.
Dozens can be over 100.
It's true. So yeah, patreon.com/AngelaFineArt, and all the information about that. This weekend we're going to be doing our second part of our 2-part bonus video series. We are doing female portrait, realistic, so we're about halfway through it. Got at least one more month to work on it. We'll be trying to finish it up this weekend. So, and if we don't, we'll do a little bit more of it on next month in October. But I think we should be able to finish it. It's getting close to being finished.
Right. So the video is available to supporters at the $5 or $10 levels.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so the $5 level is traceables plus the bonus video, and then the $10 level is all of that plus access to a private Facebook group where there's more Facebook Live and different things going on in there too. So.
Right. Yeah, we do a weekly. I do a weekly chat with those folks, and while I paint something, It's usually something that they've voted that they wanted to do. And we take our time on it. Usually takes at least 4 weeks to finish.
So I was thinking at
More
the
advanced lessons.
at the $1 million level that I'm setting up, each month we'll give away like a Tesla.
Okay. You need to do that on your own channel there, hon.
Oh, I don't have nearly as many followers as you do. I think I might have by accident 2 or 3. I'm yet to post my first video.
You do that. I'll be your first subscriber. I'll subscribe to you. All right.
Let me go see how many I got.
I've got a black. A little bit of black here to do the center. Then these are turning out cool. This is the number 1 round, by the way. I don't think I mentioned it. Just a small round that you can get a little bit more detail. That's all you need.
I have 26 subscribers.
What? I'm probably one of them, maybe. I don't know. I have to see if I subscribe to you. So they're hoping you start a Stickman channel is what's happening there.
Oh my goodness. Sorry. You better watch out.
You're on your way there, hon.
You better watch out.
You're on your way.
I just might quit my day job and
That's with not even trying. It's pretty impressive.
well, I think
There's
it's
a little bit of white here.
just because I'm associated with you.
Uh-huh. Maybe. Okay. If you get too much paint on there, I got too much paint on that one. I'm just going to wipe it off my brush there and just going to use that dry brush to kind of push that paint around. And if I still have too much, grab a little bit of that black and go back in with the black and just make some streaks in the opposite direction with the black. There we go. I don't think they can see very well these little bitty butterflies here.
Is that a suggestion for me to try to zoom in?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm a little afraid that...
So I'm zoomed into where you're at right now.
Okay. There we go. That's better. I think, yeah. You can see a little bit better.
People are now in chat asking how they follow me.
He doesn't really have a channel.
It's just my YouTube account. I don't have any videos. Now the pressure's on. I gotta post my first video.
You should start. You should. Oh, I just did a whole one off camera there.
I'm over here launching my YouTube career.
I know. You're more concerned with that.
I'm not gonna ask you to do the audio though.
Okay, thank you.
We tried that once.
I didn't do a very good job. These ones, as they get farther apart, they really can just be, farther in the distance. They can just be a little tiny bit of color on there. Doesn't have to be anything special. Special. I am off camera again. Sorry.
Yep, you sure were.
All right.
Can you
go ahead and zoom out again?
You have one. Is that one that's up to the upper right of that big one on the right.
Right here? Yeah. I did miss him. Thank you. What are you laughing at now?
Somebody said they think my follow button is disabled. I get that a lot.
Okay, I'm going to use a fan brush now. And the white. And I'm grabbing, it's kind of getting mixed up in this blue, but I don't mind that. And I'm going to try. I'm going to have to lay this flat. Otherwise it's going to splatter in a diagonal fashion. Like that. Make sure you add quite a bit of water. You want it to be kind of a milk consistency. Otherwise it just won't come off your brush. It'll just kind of stick to it if it's too thick. And I'm using the fan brush, but you can use a toothbrush or whatever you find that works for you. It's kind of a stiff bristle brush. I'm going to try to kind of concentrate. Try to find a clean spot on my dirty rag here. Get a little bit of water. Anywhere where I don't want my dots, those are fine. Everything else looks okay, I think. If you get too many, you can kind of just use your towel to kind of dab it off while it's wet. Let's keep on going here and get some more splatters. Touching off on your paper towel just like once. Ooh, look at that. It's big. Maybe not that big. There we go. That's better. Probably not going to have any stars over the top of your moon, but so you probably dab those off.
There's something really wrong in the universe if you do.
Exactly. Okay, and then I'm going to take my scrubby brush that I talked about earlier, grab some of that color. I'm just going to scrub in just a few like really bright highlighted areas here and there. You can maybe pick on one of these dots that I've already put in, just kind of widen it out a little bit. Don't scrub too hard because you don't want to lift off the paint underneath, but there we go. It is lifting off the paint. Okay, I need to not do that. It's not dry enough. I'm going to use the back end of my brush and just, or my stylus, and just dot in. That scruffy brush is just too good. It's scrubbing the paint right off of it. If you let it set for a day, it won't do that, but it's just a little too fresh. The paint's still, that first layer of paint's not cured yet. Okay, so just kind of putting in a few bigger dots, more intentional here and there, and we can kind of use them to sort of lead our butterflies. So we're going to kind of put them in between our butterflies. Actually, it'll help if I use a fluid acrylic for this, because they make better dots. Really, fluid acrylics just do better for any kind of splatters or dots. Lining, that kind of thing. Anytime you want that paint to flow a little bit better. So I'm going to kind of dab some of these little dots in and around these butterflies that are kind of floating up toward the moon. Kind of guide the eye this way. Make sure I've got some that are kind of clustered together. I'm not doing them in a straight line, obviously, but I do want them to kind of connect all of these butterflies here. So start out with one. Make sure that there's some dots kind of going in that direction. And as we get closer to the moon, we're going to get them closer together and smaller little dots. And kind of cluster together right there. All right. Ooh. Now you can see why I have that little thing there. All right, so one last little thing. I think I might just take my liner brush, or my small round here, some of my white. I'm going to grab that zinc white just because I can't. My titanium white's gone again. And I'm going to do some more. Actually, the zinc white will be good to do this because it'll be more subtle. Just a little bit more highlight just here and there. Right here in the middle. Right where we want some really bright highlight. Let's put a little bit on the moon up here in our yellow area. Maybe a little bit. Let's go to scuff that. Just depends on how well you like what you've got going on in your moon. If you want a little bit more detail, you can kind of add a little bit more white here. This layer, just to make it even more luminous. This should be the brightest area on the painting, this area, and then, you know, kind of some of the stars and the reflection on the water. There we go. Ooh, that's pretty. All right, I think we're done. What do you think? Good? Happy? We could always add more color if you wanted to. More dark blues. I could see where we could maybe add a little bit of this brighter blue up here. Maybe. Just another layer in a couple of spots. Make sure you don't wipe off your stars because they might still be drying. There we go. Super chat. What? Awesome.
Yeah, we got some super chat tonight.
Oh, thank you guys.
Yes, we had at least 3.
Nice.
Hopefully I wrote them all down. The first one we had was from Sandy. And she says, love how this is coming along. I am a moon child and this resonates with me. Thanks for all you do. You too, Mark.
Oh.
And then there was from Carol. And she says, Angela, thanks for painting the upcoming desert scene.
Ooh.
Excited to see it come alive.
That'll be Saturday.
Yeah. And then we have one from Carrie. She says, thank you, Angela. This is beautiful.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes,
That's
thank you so
sweet of
much
you.
for all the support through the live super chat. It's awesome. I get to ring the bell.
Trying to
And
sign this, but this brush is not doing all that great with it.
you can barely see the disco lights.
Doesn't want to curve.
Disappointing.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I had fun bringing it to you, and we will be back on Saturday with that desert scene like we were talking about there. And okay, I'm going to pull some of this black out this way. This guy's a little too bright. What else? And then next Tuesday, we've got another moon painting. So I don't have it on the schedule yet, but we'll be doing a moonlight through trees. So it'll have some twisty tree branches and then just a sliver of a moon kind of showing through. So it should be fun. All right, guys. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe. Get rid of the paint. And you can check out all of the links to everything down in the description if you want to do that and show me your painting if you painted it. I've got links down in the description for where you can do that. All right. Thanks. See you next time. Bye.